Hello, friends. Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Dropping into Happiness. We are on episode 14. I am your host. I am Rachel.
And I am your other host, Maggie.
I didn't do it very well this time either. Oh, goodness me. I don't know what's going on with me these days, but welcome, everybody. Hello to another episode. This is going to be a fun one. I think this is going to be an FAQ episode. We're going to answer some questions today. Yeah,
Yes.
I feel like we got some really good questions from the listeners. Like, I'm really psyched for these questions. I think they're really good. I think these are going to be questions that a lot of people are going to be able to relate to also, especially if you're on a wellness journey. So really excited to get to that. So me and Maggie are going to answer some of your questions. As usual, I want to announce the merch store is open. If you head on over to our Instagram, Dropping into Happiness Pod, click that little link tree. It can take you over to the merch store. Also, I want to say happy National Walking Day.
Yay!
Yeah, I know. Today is National Walking Day. And I don't know if it's kind of funny. We've talked about that in the past when people are like, oh, well, all I do is walk. Guys, walking is good. If that's the only activity you're getting, you are getting some good activity. So National Walking Day, get outside or walk around your house, do some sort of walking today, and let's all celebrate. I think that's going to be a good one. Also, Maggie, tomorrow is National Health Day. Did you know that one?
Yes, I think that's going to be so exciting for us to celebrate. Rachel and I will do something fun on the Instagram, so definitely make sure y'all are following us if you're not already.
Yep.
And I am so thankful for the gift of our health. I think that's a very important thing to celebrate. Every day that we wake up with breath in our lungs, it's a beautiful day to be alive. So,
right.
Yeah.
Okay, I know I'm gonna pick an Instagram again. Didn't your dad just say that the other day?
Yeah, my dad
I
turned
love that.
63, bless him. He's on the WW
Yes.
journey, and I was talking to him on the phone about his day, and he said, I just, every day that I get to wake up and start the day, it's a blessing and a gift.
Yes.
So, which I thought was so sweet. And I'm very thankful because him and my mom both have changed the trajectory of their life to where I think we'll get to celebrate lots more birthdays. So very,
Yes.
very exciting indeed.
I know, that warmed my heart when I saw you post it. I was like, oh, that was so cute.
Shout out, Dad, if you're listening.
I know. Happy late birthday. I know it's a week late, but
a little bit late now, but it's okay.
It's like 3 weeks late. It's okay. All right. Well, like I said, we've got questions from you guys today. So I want to hop on into our questions because we got some really, really good ones, and we want to make sure we can give each one some ample attention and really kind of answer these for you guys. So just a quick recap too, for if anybody's new to our podcast, Maggie and I have both lost just over 100 pounds. We did that through the pandemic. We used WW as our program, which we are still currently using. I'm on maintenance. Maggie is still in weight loss mode. And we currently work for WW now as well. It just was a company that's completely changed our lives for the better in many, many ways. So hopping into our questions. So Maggie, do you want to shoot your question first?
Yes, y'all got the Q's, we got the A's. So our first question for today was submitted by Haley G. And she asks, how do you stay motivated and not let the scale ruin your mood?
Yeah. Because it can.
Sure can if you let it. Sure can. So Rachel, do you want to take that one away?
Yeah. So I know in the very beginning of my journey, like I said, I've lost just over 100 pounds. And I think when I was focusing on the scale, when that was my primary, when that was what I celebrated was a number on the scale, that's when the scale itself would affect my mood. Does that make sense? Like when that was my sole primary source of celebration, that's when I would let it affect my mood. But once I started celebrating, hey, I got in this many steps this week, or I passed up on that extra cupcake. I'm very proud of myself. Or, all of these other things, that's when the scales stopped affecting my mood. Obviously, I would still step on it sometimes and be like, all right, let's work on this. But it wouldn't make me upset. Like I started using it more as data. And once I could see it as data, that's when it really just stopped affecting my mood. I could celebrate. There was always something I could celebrate. Would I be, disappointed sometimes? Like, oh, rats. But it would never make or break my day, I guess.
Right. I mean, It's easier said than done, but you just can't
Yeah.
let it. It's something that's powered by most often AAA batteries. It is simply your gravitational pull on this earth. There is so much that goes into the number of the scale beyond even just the fat that's on your body. There's
Hmm.
bone density, muscle mass,
Yes.
water retention. There's so many things that go into that number. So I think you have to push yourself to think about, again, like we talked about in episode 13, the things that you can control. And
Oh,
I will say there is a helpful listening if you are someone out there who has access to WW tools in your app under 5 minute coaching before you weigh listening.
oh,
And
yes, that's
it's
a good
really
one.
just like less than 3 minutes, I think,
Hmm.
and it really helps you reflect on the things that you've done well and what's been within your control so that when you get on the scale, you can feel great about what you've accomplished despite whatever the number is. I think that that can be really helpful.
Hmm.
To have, and also to have a scale routine. So,
Huh.
some people do daily weigh, and there are some benefits to daily weighing. But if it is impacting our mood every single day, then it might be time to step back, and weigh once a week or a couple of times a week, right? I think it's just important to have a routine that this is just a part of my day or a part of my week, and keep those things consistent so it feels like a
Hmm.
habit and less like a determination of self worth.
Yeah, like the end all be all, even though you
Ugh.
could have done, 10,000 steps every single day, drank your water every single day, and then got on the scale. And if it didn't say what you like expect it to, I'm doing air quotes,
Mhm.
then you get like upset. And especially, like you said, if it's something that affects your mood, that could just be a spiral, right? Because I'm an emotional eater. So if I let it affect my mood, then that could mean, poor choices of food throughout the day, or like, go way over on what I had anticipated to do, or not getting my activity because I think, what's the point?
Yeah.
Even if I did all of those amazing things. So, like you said, easier said than done, but definitely, yeah, don't let it have that much power over you.
And the key word too that sticks out to me in this question is how do you stay motivated? And we don't, regardless of the scale.
Yeah.
Motivation is a feeling that comes and goes
Mm-hmm.
with, life. So, really, it's leaning into consistency and
Yeah.
creating those habits that pull you through no matter how you're feeling day to day. It is really important to long term success. So,
Maggie, I know
uh,
you're like 11 years younger than me, but did you ever see the movie The Labyrinth with David
no,
Bowie?
no, I'm sorry.
Okay, can I do a little spoiler alert for you?
Yeah, sure.
At the very end of that movie, she realizes something, and anytime I hear anybody say this, I hear her words, and she basically tells the Goblin King, "You have no power over me." And every time I hear like, a fellow, WWE member or somebody else who has discovered that the scale has no power over them, I always hear, I think it's Jennifer Connelly. I
Yeah.
always hear her saying that you have no power over me. And I just feel like that's so appropriate for the scale. Like,
Yes.
look at the scale for those in my generation. If you've seen the Labyrinth, like look at your scale as the Goblin King. You
Yeah.
have no power over me.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's so sad that, I mean, that seems to be the biggest challenge that so many of us
It
face on the health and wellness journey
is.
is just having a
Yeah.
healthy relationship with the scale. If we have an episode, and I'm sure Rachel can put it in the show notes specifically which episode it is, but where we talk about if we didn't have the scale,
Mhm.
what could we focus in on? And so I would also recommend, to answer Haley's question, listen to that episode if you haven't already, because
Yeah.
we really do go so in depth with that.
We really do. Yeah. Good point there. Woo. Okay. Next, are we ready? Are we ready for another one?
Yeah, I'm
Okay, next
ready.
question. All right, I got one. So this one was submitted by Brittany G. And I think this one's kind of deep. So here we go with this one. So she says, this is, Brittany's words. WW is all about pounds lost. I do not lose pounds when working out. Should I quit one or the other?
I have to say, I felt a little bit passionate when I read that question for
I
the
know,
first
me
time.
too.
And I am curious to know if Brittany G is a WW digital only member or workshop member, because I think our workshop experience has really helped Rachel and I both see the full benefit of WW, and the fact that for a lot of folks, I don't know if y'all know, WW stands for Wellness Works, formerly known as Weight Watchers, but Wellness Works. So weight loss is a byproduct of our wellness in most instances, but
Yeah.
we talk about in workshops so much more than pounds lost. So that's my big, first comment is just it's not all about pounds lost. It is if you
Yeah.
make it about
Yeah.
pounds lost, but it doesn't have to be that.
Mhm.
And I don't know, Rachel, did you have anything else in terms of that part of it, or?
Yeah, because it's I can't I have legit never asked a member, hey, so how much weight did you lose this week? You know what I mean? And I love it so much when we're in workshops, because if you've never been in a workshop, we always start each workshop with reflect and celebrate. And
Mhm.
I can't tell you how many times people have been like, oh, and I did this week, and and I got to bed on time, and I'm feeling good, and I was journaling. And then, like, as we're wrapping up, they're like, oh, yeah, and I lost 2 pounds. Like, they
Mhm.
almost forgot that they had lost weight because we were celebrating all of these other things. And that makes my heart happy when I see that, because like we said, WW has said this is the most holistic program they have ever
Yeah.
offered, because it is. Like, we don't look at that number on the scale. Like, and honestly, I said we talk about our 4 pillars: food, activity, sleep, and mindset. The scale and weight is not one of those. We do not say, how much weight did you lose? How much weight are you planning to lose? That's not even questions we ask. We say,
Right.
how much sleep did you get this week? How are you feeling?
Right.
Things like that. So I would love, Brittany, if you could just kind of refocus, reshape. Like, let's not look at the pounds lost, but like, Maggie and I have both lost over 100 pounds. And I can honestly tell you, I was not trying to. Even when I got to a certain point, it wasn't about the number on the scale. That number came, but
Mhm.
not when I focused on it, if that makes
Right.
any sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Then
So,
I'm sure Brittany is not alone. I mean, there are a lot of folks
mhm.
who when they start a health and wellness journey, it's about that number. It's
Yeah.
about
And
that
it's usually
goal
that's why you
weight.
start a lot of
Right. It
times.
it is, but I think in terms of long-term success, we need to push ourselves to think about the bigger picture and just
Hmm.
our overall health. In terms of activity and weight, it's important to know, number one, that 1 pound of muscle and 1 pound of fat weigh exactly the same.
Yeah.
They're 1 pound. But 1 pound of muscle is leaner than 1 pound of fat. So it can be, in some instances, if you're on a health and wellness journey and you're eating in a deficit and you are working out, that you could replace a pound of fat with a pound of muscle. But this takes time, right? And it takes consistency, and you would start to feel it in your clothes, right? So it's common when we incorporate more activity for the scale to slow down, because when we break down those muscles, they have to hold on to water to repair. But if we keep focusing on our plan, if we're tracking everything, and could be applied to WW or calorie counting for anyone out there, whatever tool you're using, when you're staying within your points, your weekly points, tracking everything, and getting in that activity, the scale will start to move in the direction that you are hoping to see. But it
Hmm.
takes time, and I can speak from experience, that as soon as I started incorporating a lot more strength training, I did see that the scale was starting to slow down. But again, if I'm looking at my overall health and the way that my clothes fit and the way that I can, move my body compared to how I could in the past, I mean, to heck with the scale, right? Or X pounds lost. I know that I'm making progress. So it is possible to lose weight, build muscle, hit our goals, work out. Like, it just takes time and consistency and being really honest
Well, and
with the
something to
food part
remember
of
that I
it.
think a lot of people don't tend to realize. So say you were just watching your food. Yes, you were just watching your food. And then you start adding in that strength training. I just want people to realize your body is doing something very different than you have in the past. And it's like, oh, we're going to build muscle now? Cool. I'm going to hold on to as much water as I possibly can to build this muscle. Mm-hmm. And you can see that for 2, 3, 4 weeks, however long it may need as you're building. And then your body eventually will have built muscle and flush a lot of that water. But keep in mind, as you're building, your body will hold on to a little bit more water than those other times. So please don't think that, oh, working out is making me gain or not lose, because it's not. Like Maggie said, that consistency, you will still gain that muscle. Mm-hmm. And eventually it will flush that water out of your system. So you have to stick with it. You have to keep that consistency. So basically, Brittany, I think what we're at, our answer to your question of should I quit one or the other is no.
Yeah, don't
Neither
quit.
one. They are both very, very important, honey. And I promise you that consistency will show. It really, really will. 100%.
There's this old school saying though about like 80% with abs, which I will never have like visible abs. That's just not a part of my journey. And it's honestly not something I'm like striving for.
Yeah.
Of course I want like a strong core and all of that, but anyway, they say abs, it's like 20% in the gym, 80% in the kitchen. Mm-hmm. So a lot of folks put so much pressure on activity as a part of success for their health and wellness. And yes, there are so many benefits to activity, but none of them really have anything to do with the scale. If we want the scale to be consistently moving, then we have to be really honest with our food. And we have to make sure that we're getting enough food to sustain that activity, to still be in a deficit and our body not like holding on for dear life, like, oh gosh, she's working out so much and I don't know when she's going to eat again. And there's a sweet spot. And that's what I love with WW, the personal points program. All of us get the proper amount of points for our activity level and where we are in our journey. And if you're not eating your points from activity and you are really active and you're not seeing the scale move, maybe it's time to start eating more food. Right?
I kid you not, I had this conversation with my daughter when she started doing softball and she started going to the gym and working out. And I was like, babe, I need you to eat more. And she was like, no, that doesn't sound right. And I was like, I had to explain it to her like a car. I said, okay, think about a car. I said, if I drive my car, because I'm in Southern California, if we drive the car to LA and back 3 times, what do I need to do after that? She's like, well, we need to put gas in it. I was like, yes, I need to fuel it. And that's the same thing you're doing to your body. If you're going to use, you have to put that fuel back into it. And she was like, oh. Like, so the more you use, the more fuel you need. Because she was thinking, no, that just sounds counterproductive. She thought, oh no, I need to work out a lot more and then not eat. And I was like, no, you need to eat more, please. And she didn't comprehend that for a little bit. I mean, she gets it now, but yeah, it's kind of where we program our brains to go, and it's the opposite. Yeah. Food, guys, food.
Right. We could have spent a whole podcast on that question, right? I can push us towards the next one if you'd like, Rachel.
Very good. Yeah. Really good topic starter there, Brittany. So hopefully that was helpful for your question. Yeah. So, all right. Next one.
So in a similar vein, again, with the scale, how do you both manage when the scale is not going in the direction you want? So for me, that direction would be up. Rachel, I would assume that you would feel the same.
Yeah.
If it happens on a week where I feel like I've done everything within my control, I've tracked all my food honestly, stayed within my budget, like, moved my body in a way that I enjoy, those types of things. So I'm just like, well, the scale's just going to do what it's going to do. Mm-hmm. So I just keep one of my favorite mantras, which was in our mantra episode, focus on the plan, you lose the weight, focus on the weight, you lose the plan. So just keep going with the plan. And the weight will come off. I call it like a whoosh, or our checks in the mail. So that's exciting when that happens. If it's consistently happening week after week after week after week, for me, I know it's because I'm not tracking, honestly. I don't know if you feel differently, Rachel, but that's where I'm at. So I just think, you know what, it's time to refocus, do the things that I know works, and then the scale will continue to do what it's supposed to do.
I mean, obviously I'm in maintenance mode. So right now I have kind of a window. Like I'm like, okay, I know it could be a couple up and I could be a couple down, and I'm okay with that. But if I do start to see it go up, then like you said, I got to reevaluate. What am I doing? Am I tracking honestly? Am I getting in my water? So, first and foremost, I don't I don't put myself down about it. I don't kick myself about it. It's just like, okay, what was going on? Like you said, we have lives. My daughter's in softball. And so like on the weekends, sometimes we're like at the ball field from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And I have to try to figure out how to make sure that I have, 0-point snacks in my cooler and I have, enough water to supply. And so life happens sometimes. Maybe there was a holiday and then people were over and, maybe we just had a higher point week. It's WW talk, like, because we points value our food. Maybe we had a higher points that week. Okay. Looking at the next week, just reevaluating. All right, cool. How am I going to change it up this next week? So yeah, first and foremost, not kicking ourselves about it. But once again, like we said, kind of with that last one, using the scale as that data. What was going on? How was I doing? And how can I just redirect that for the next week? So
yeah, because I think it's important to keep in mind that sometimes they're just flukes. I mean, the scale, your bodies are weird. They do weird things, especially for those of us who have those reproductive organs. We have a cycle, all of those things. Heyo, like that impacts the scale too. So like I said, if it's a week or two and I feel like I'm doing everything honestly within my control, you just got to let it ride. But at the end of the day, like I think I said in the episode where we don't have the scale, if you're working the program or not. I mean, if you're staying consistent. A lot of times I'll get messages on Instagram of like, Maggie, I've been tracking, or I've been, on the WW for X amount of time and I haven't lost weight, or I've gained, or, I've only lost this and that. And then I'll say, do you want me to problem solve with you? And if the conversation continues, I'll ask, like, are you tracking everything? Are you really everything that has points? Are you tracking it? Oh, well, I've taken a weekend off here and a weekend off there and I did this and that. And I said, well, unfortunately, that's just a part of it because I can blow through 40 points in one meal.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not tracking. I looked up
if we're not paying attention.
I looked up a sandwich that I used to get all the time at Panera before WW, and even before we switched to personal points, I would get like half of it. And the points like went up crazy. And I was like, so I just looked it up on the Panera website. I was thinking about, hashtag treat yourself.
Yeah.
I saw it was 1,010 calories for one sandwich. And
That's
it was
like half a day's worth of like recommended.
Yeah. And it was just the tomato basil bread, like the sauce that was on it, the turkey, the lettuce, tomato, the cheese, like all of that added. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And so you think if that's one thing that you're having without tracking, that's going to show up somehow. It could if we're doing that multiple times.
Oh yeah, and like you're saying, sometimes we want to treat ourselves. Sometimes we know that it's going to be that much, and we're going to have that, guys, and that's okay. But just recognize, track it, know what's happening, so we understand what's kind of going on.
Right,
with our
we
body,
have that information. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Good question. Okay, my question. I am super sorry. So this one comes from Sarah G. Sarah says, what is your favorite go-to meal when you don't have any time or energy?
Okay, so spoiler alert, we will be doing a fast food episode. So I'm going to save all my fast food related answers for that one because like I said, I wanted a whole episode. Rachel's making it happen. But I have a go-to that's not fast food. I keep the Lean Cuisine white cheddar Vermont mac and cheese frozen in my freezer. I keep like 1 or 2 boxes on hand. It's 8 personal points for all friends on WW. I'm not sure of the calories, but it's relatively low. So I have that on hand, and then I'll throw in some chicken that's prepped or even frozen chicken.
Oh yeah.
I'll throw in a whole like half a bag of mixed veggies. You mix that all together. That's a huge, comforting, quick meal. Takes like 4 minutes total to make.
Yeah, that sounds very like
so good. Here we go, Rachel.
For lack of a better word.
I'm gonna do a reel on Instagram of that.
Okay.
I'll do that on the Dropping Into Happiness podcast the week that this goes up.
Okay.
Because it's a huge staple for me. Doing things like that in general, or like the soups, like the Progresso light soups.
Yes.
The whole cans are like 2 to 3 points for most
I think the chicken
plans.
noodle one's only like 1 point for the whole can or something crazy.
Yeah.
And they're so good.
yeah, not only are those great on their own, but then if you have like a bag of frozen mixed veggies or like frozen
Mm-hmm.
rice or something, and like that's low points for you, pop it in the microwave, put it all together, bulk it up, and then
Yeah.
it's extremely budget friendly, both, points wise and I'm sure financially too. Um, and it's like so filling and quick. And yeah, those are
Yeah.
my recommendations. Rachel, what about you?
I know. Okay, so fast food wise, if it's like, oh, I just need to grab something on the way home. Grilled, I'm a grilled chicken sandwich kind of girl. I love the Wendy's one. We have this one little restaurant here in town that's nowhere else in the world, and they have a really great grilled chicken sandwich, and that's a go-to for me. But if it's at home, I've mentioned this is my breakfast, and it takes me less than 10 minutes to make. And
Mhm.
it's 1 point for me with the kind of bread that I use, and it's so filling. And I love it so much. So much so that sometimes I'll have it as a snack because it's only 1 point. But
Right.
it's a honey wheat bread, but it's like the keto friendly, and I'm not keto, but it's the bread. This for one slice is only 1 point.
Mhm.
And then I avocado is 0 points for me, and I put usually about half or a quarter of an avocado on there. I do 2 eggs and a patty with some spinach. And then I put it on there with some garlic salt, and I usually have 1 cup of grapes and some green tea. I kid you not, I can make that in less than 10 minutes. And so it's so filling, and it just really gets me there. And like I said, 1 point. So
Yeah.
even if I know I'm like, I need a lot of food right now, ooh, that is so filling for me. And it's just the 1 point. So that's my kind of go-to food. But also I always have like a little prepackaged salads in the fridge. Because especially
Yes.
that's about 2 servings of veggies. So you usually can gain with, WW talk, you can add 2 points to your day with one of those. And
Mhm.
they're still a little bit higher in points for me. But man, if I just don't want to make absolutely anything, I'll grab one of those.
I don't know if we have anything scheduled in our podcast plans in terms of like an episode dedicated to meal prepping or planning.
I think we do. We should.
That might be a good one.
Yeah.
But I always try to think about like current me setting future me up for success. So
Yeah.
having just some ingredients prepped, like bell peppers chopped up that I can like saute or put in a salad. Chicken or like other protein just already made that I can
Oh
use
yeah, I
in
like to do grilled
different.
chicken and just have it in the fridge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that I can have it made. Like I do crock pot chicken and salsa, crock pot
Oh
chicken and
yeah,
barbecue. Like, and then you can put it over a bed of rice or a bed of lettuce and have
yeah.
some veggies, and it's like boom, done. So yeah, I think we could have a whole episode on that ways
Oh,
to
I
make
know. I
things
was just going to go
easier.
into a whole other recipe, but right. Whoa, we got to move on to our next question. Like we
Yeah.
could talk about food the whole time. Like, oh, I got another one. Yeah. Okay, so
Yes.
quite a few, absolutely. But yeah, we'll put some of those on our Instagram, like Maggie said. We'll do a little Instagram thing about some of these easy meals that we make that are just kind of a really good staple for us. Okay, so Maggie, I think you got one more question, right?
Do I?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. What was your biggest hurdle in the beginning of your journey? That was from Luann. Biggest hurdle. So we have, I think, an episode coming up. We've been brainstorming about discussing hurdles in general with
Oh
our WB
yeah.
journey, but the first hurdle, tracking,
I.
seeing how many points I was eating when I was
Oh right,
with
like
my
kind of that
normal
sticker
routine.
shock and.
Because one of my first goals on WW was I'm just going to track everything that I would normally eat. I was like, I'm not going to change any of my eating behaviors in the first week. I was like, I'm just going to track. And by like day 2, I was like, yeah, no, this is not going to work. Like, it's not worth it. Like, let me start. So I think it was learning how to make some of my go-tos lower in points or seeing like what I could swap out,
Yeah.
so that I had a points budget that I was proud of, or like,
Oh
but still felt satisfied.
yeah. Mhm.
So I think that was the biggest in the beginning. Was like, oh snap, how many points was I spending?
Yeah.
Yo.
No, my biggest hurdle was me.
Yeah.
I just I was really excited to sign up, but I've said this before, like I wouldn't take a starting picture because my brain told me you've never been successful before. Like you're not going to have your success photo, so why would you even bother?
Oh.
I know. It's just I
breaks
didn't.
in my heart.
I know, and like I truly just that was my mentality, I guess. So I don't like I was like I said I was excited to sign up, but I had no faith in myself, I guess. I really didn't. And so as we were talking think in the last episode about setting our goals. Yeah. That I just had to start setting very, very small goals and realizing that it's okay to set those small goals. And even if it's something that I'm like, well, I know I can do that. Hey, like I just had to start doing step by step by step. Cause, and I think that's another reason why, like I said too, like I wasn't trying to lose 100 pounds because in my mind, I couldn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that was,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm never going to be able to lose 100 pounds. Why would I even try? Like I was my biggest hurdle. It's taken a long time to really get super comfortable with my body, myself, my journey, my daily eating, you know, going up in points some days, going up in pounds, you know, a certain season. It took a long time to get there, but, you can get there.
You know what I was thinking, like, you know, I think adjusting to points and stuff was hard for me, but really, I think for a lot of us too, the biggest hurdle is just like that first bad day where you feel like just something bad happens where it's not necessarily like related to your health, but for me it was like I wanted to emotionally eat. I remember it was like a month into my journey and I had an audition for a doctorate program and I didn't get in. And I was devastated. I remember crying in my car. I remember storying about it on Instagram, being like, and I'm just coming on here to tell you guys that I'm not going to eat my feelings. And I was like, I remember just like being like, don't spend sad points. Don't spend sad points. And I think like that first kind of experience like that where you're on a program and you don't want to just go to what you normally would do, which was for me eating, that was her hurdle. But I remember getting through it and being so proud of myself. So then the next like bad day, like I remember my mom was in the hospital and I remember telling my friend like, I really want a Dairy Queen Blizzard, but I don't want to spend sad points. And so it was just like working through that. That was hard. Those moments are hard, but every time you do it, it gets easier.
I want to hashtag that. Hashtag sad points.
Sad points. They're not as fun as happy points. They're really not. You don't feel as at peace, you know? And so I think, you know, I was like, dang, I remember those moments. And like, those moments now are fewer and farther in between where I still have bad moments, like bad days where things just don't go well, but it's like, I don't feel as inclined to like battle with food. That still happens, but just not as often where I feel like that's my automatic response. So it gets better, y'all.
I know.
Keep going.
I know. I told you, we got some really, really great like
thoughtful
conversation.
Questions.
Yes, thought-provoking questions. Like really, really love these. So these were all the questions we had for this time. So just remind you guys that if you ever have questions for us, you can put it on our Instagram. You can message it to us, or you can email us at droppingintohappiness@gmail.com. Send us your questions. I mean, if we get a whole nother collection, we'll do another FAQ in a few weeks, or maybe every so often we'll start a podcast with this. Yeah, I caught myself that time. We'll start the podcast with a question. Maybe if we have some really good ones, if you guys just really need some words that you need to hear to, for one, I love these kinds of questions. Cause like I said, I know there's more than one person out there thinking, oh,
right.
I would have loved to have asked that too, or I'm feeling that way too. Cause a lot of these are very, very normal questions to ask, I feel like, along a wellness journey, especially for people getting started or people who feel like they're having struggles. So y'all are not alone.
And you never know, your question might inspire a whole episode. So
right?
Bring it in. We need that. We accept the ideas. So
yes. Well, and so speaking of inspiring words, we do have a closing some inspiring words, and these actually came from Haley G, who actually provided a couple of our questions.
Thanks, Haley G.
Haley was full of words this week for us. So Haley's quote was, I really liked, and I thought this was very appropriate for our funny enough was appropriate for this week's topic, was difficult roads often lead to beautiful destinations.
Oh. I love it. I think about all like the horrendous hikes I've been on and then the beautiful views at the top, you know.
See, and all of these struggles that we think of along our journey can absolutely be that same thing. You know, sometimes we're going to be hiking up that horrendous hill, but once you get to that top of that view is going to be absolutely beautiful no matter. And those are things to celebrate. Like we were just saying how we've had things that were big struggles and we made it through, and now it's a celebration of how we've come through the other side. So
yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So remember that, guys. Yeah, you can always send us those words, send us your questions. We love them. We want to share them because we are on journeys too, y'all. So we get inspired by you guys just as much as we inspire you. So
better together.
Yes. Okay,
All
well,
right,
on to our
star goals and
and
recommendations. Let's do it.
I know, like we
Okay.
said in the beginning, today is National Walking Day, so I think we're both kind of theming our star goals this week for National Walking Day, right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. All right. So my star goal, I'm not always great, and I know this, like we've talked about this in our goals episode. I'm not always great about hitting a daily step goal because some days I'll be way here, and some days I just don't make it. So I'm giving myself by week end. By 7 days, I want to have hit an average or more of 50,000 steps. So whether I do 15 on one day and 5 on another, however I'm going to lay that out, because some days I'm more active than others. I don't anticipate to always be the same level of active. So I'm going to do 50,000 steps this week. That's my goal. So by the end of the week. And then my recommendation for this week is ask the questions, you guys. I know you guys asked us these questions, but sometimes we have to turn on and ask ourselves.
Yeah.
What is a hurdle I want to get over? What is something that's going to make me excited about my goals? So ask yourself these questions. And you're not always going to have the answer immediately, but write them down. Ask them out loud. Yeah. Just ask the questions. I think that's just really, really good to do to help us expand our mind, our vision, and our insights of our journey. So ask the questions. That's my recommendation this week.
Yes, my star goal in light of the walking holiday, is 3 walk talks this week. So I'm going to get out and walk. The walk talks on the WW app are about 30 minutes long. So I'm going to get out there and crush it. And then my recommendation is the new WW candy bars. If you're watching on YouTube, I have prompts. Yes. I have tried all 3 flavors. I enjoy all 3. If you are familiar with the WW mini bars, they are thicker and a little bit longer than those, and just a great treat to have on hand. Now, I would not consider these a snack, something that would hold me over to my next meal. This is a treat when I just want that chocolate fix, or I would pair it with something else. Like, we love our little snack plates, our little charcuterie boards.
Yes.
So you could do this with like some fruit and some cheese and a little bit of nuts or something like that. That would be a little bit more of a well-rounded filling moment.
Oh, they're so good.
They're very good. They're in the WW shop when we're recording this. So
yeah, I know they're supposedly they're going to be a limited time thing, so hopefully they'll still be in stock because holy cow, are they good. I love the caramel one. It's my favorite.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, I know this has been a little bit longer. This has probably been our longest one so far, but like I said, we really wanted to give everybody their fair share on their questions. So thank you so much for everybody who submitted. I really hope that we answered some of those for you today. So thanks for dropping by, everybody.
Yeah, have a magical day, y'all. Bye.